My name is David Tannen. I operate an Artisan Bakery in Prim Springs, Tennessee, where I bake European-style sourdough or natural leaven breads. I quit my job 4 years ago with my wife's blessing, although she was scared to death, and started doing market farming. As a one-man operation, that proved to be a lot more work than I could handle as one person. I built a small oven out in the backyard that I had read about 20 years earlier while I was an on-the-road salesman, heard a radio interview, and built that oven. Started playing around with it, and everyone liked my breads, so I ditched the farming, built a larger oven, and became an artisan baker. I've been experimenting with different breads for about 4 or 5 years. I built the oven a year and a half ago, and have started working out of this oven, which holds 42 loaves, as of May of '08. I make 4 different kinds of bread at the moment. I do one called Bohemian 3-seated, named after a bakery in Vermont called Bohemian Bakery. It's their formula. It contains sesame, sunflower, and flaxseed. I do another bread called Expedition, which is a formula from a fellow baker in Wisconsin. It is a whole wheat bread containing millet, polenta, buckwheat, barley, oats, and flax. And I do a raisin bread that's also whole wheat. And I add orange zest and anise to it. And I do a country whole wheat with rye, about 20% rye. And I'm experimenting with a ciabatta bread, a farmhouse ciabatta bread. The way that I bake is the way that bread was baked 5,000 years ago. As a matter of fact, the oven is the same oven that you would have found in all across Europe for thousands of years, made to the same specifications. And it is a 2-day process using natural leaven or sourdough starter. Okay. The first day, I build a fire in the oven early in the morning, and that fire burns all day long. And while that fire is burning and heating up the oven, I mix my doughs. The doughs then either get shaped in the afternoon and then are put into the cooler to ferment overnight, or they're left as bulk doughs and shaped the following morning. But all the doughs go into the cooler and ferment, or what's called the first rise, for 18 to 22 hours. And then the following day, I get up early, rake the ashes out of the oven, mop it down. The oven's about 700 degrees at that point, so it's immediately sterilized. The oven sits for an hour or two, and at that point I bring my breads out of the cooler. The ones that are shaped go into the oven immediately. The ones that are bulk doughs will sit out for an hour and then get hand shaped, and we'll go into the oven. We'll go into the oven later on. The first batch that goes in, the oven's quite hot. It's about 580 degrees. They take anywhere from 30 to 35 minutes to bake. As the day goes on, the oven cools down to anywhere from, the coolest it'll get to be 475, but when it gets down to about 500, it takes about an hour, maybe an hour and 5 minutes to cook a batch of dough. You can find it at Whole Foods in Franklin on Galleria Boulevard, soon to be in the Green Hills Whole Foods store in Nashville. Also at the Franklin Farmers Market throughout the spring and summer, which is behind the factory, and at the Turnip Truck East Nashville Farmers Market, which is on Wednesdays from 4 to 7. Twin Forks Farm Artisan Breads in Prim Springs, Tennessee. My website is www.twinforksfarm.com.